Hello and welcome to Ask the Expert. In our last conversation, we learned about how living with an untreated mental illness will increase one's likelihood of encountering the justice system. We know that specifically veterans with PTSD have a 61% higher chance of involvement with the justice system. Today, we are joined by Pam Brockman, the Illinois Director of Project Welcome Home Troops, as we dive into the fascinating science behind meditative practices as an effective treatment for PTSD. And Pam, before I give you the floor, I want to thank you for being here. And I think I should have. I hope you're okay with me calling you a friend. You're certainly an ambassador for veterans and have always been a strong ally. And it's just always an opportunity, a pleasure for me to get to chat with you. So Pam, if you don't mind, we'll just go straight into it. Why don't we start by hearing about how meditative practices as treatment for PTSD came about?
Well, I'm with Project Welcome Home Troops. We are a nonprofit organization. We're part of the International Association for Human Values. That's our umbrella organization. And we started in 2007. We have programs that have been taught all over the world to about 450 million people all over the world of all backgrounds, all cultures, all religions, in very simple techniques to manage the mind, emotions, stress, including post traumatic stress. And their research, their evidence based techniques. And in 2007, we thought we would like to expand the program out to other communities who have more issues of stress and post traumatic stress, specifically veterans and youth and other groups. And so we got together with a Vietnam veteran, quite celebrated one, Shad Mayshad, who helped start the vet centers in the United States. And so we adopted our civilian program to suit veterans specifically. And then from 2007 on, we've been teaching veterans all over the world, but specifically in the United States. And I've been working with Project Welcome Home Troops since 2009 and work with vet centers and VA hospitals and universities to, um, to serve veterans and help them get relief from post traumatic stress, help them manage mind and emotions. And anger management is a key. So, especially for
Well, that's
veterans.
applicable for a lot of people, but veterans for sure.
In 2007, our programs that we'd been teaching for the civilian community, we saw such great results from the research, which demonstrated that there was a significant reduction in depression, anxiety, and also post traumatic stress. That we thought, well, let's reach out to communities who have post traumatic stress. And so the veteran community was the first community that we thought of. We have a number of Vietnam veterans on our staff. And so we worked with Shad Mayshad, who helped to set up vet centers all over the United States after the Vietnam War. And we redesigned our program specifically for veterans. And we've been teaching them to veterans since 2007. And so it's now we work with veterans all over the world, but specifically in the United States.
Well, why was veterans kind of the natural extension of this work? I mean, what's unique about the veteran experience that made you want to target them?
Well, I guess it was a connection that we had because we have some Vietnam veterans who are on our faculty, and they were very interested, and I was very interested also because I have, my dad served in the Second World War, and my mother also. And my cousin served in the Vietnam War. And so he came back depressed and addicted to heroin. So I was never able to really help him. I was too young and, of course, not trained. I was in college. And so this opportunity, when it came along, I was very excited to help veterans with the techniques which I've seen myself have brought tremendous change and reduction of stress.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask about. You said the results from research show that sort of reduction. I mean, what is the science behind the techniques? What was the rigorous sort of studies? How can you prove that there's been a reduction in these symptoms?
Well, there's quite a lot of research, and I would encourage everyone to go to projectwelcomehometroops.org and check it out. And one specific study I will tell you about is one that was done in 2012 with veterans who had served in Iraq and Afghanistan, combat veterans. And what they did, this was held at the University of Wisconsin at Madison at the Center for Healthy Minds. And they studied the veterans through different tests before, after, and 1 year after they learned the techniques. And what they found was after the course was done, they found that the two most intrusive symptoms of post-traumatic stress, hyperarousal, that means
Mm-hmm.
getting angry immediately without
Mm-hmm.
any or much provocation, and then hypervigilance, having to check the perimeter all the time. And those two were reduced very dramatically, at least 40%. And then,
So how did they determine that that was reduced? Was it like based off of self reports, or like how do you quantify hyper vigilance or arousal?
it was through a questionnaire, and then also through some other testing. I think there were some blood tests, and then there were testing the cortisol, and then also um, I think there was some MRIs that were done too. But what was interesting is that at the 1 year point after the course, one would expect, since there were um, no follow-up sessions done, and most of the vets didn't practice the techniques that they learned, the results were the same. They had the same lower level of hypervigilance and hyperarousal.
So if they
And
took just one course or something along those lines, that seemed to have lasting effects. But you made this clear. No one practiced or did anything extra afterwards. You seem to. Is that a recommendation to continue practicing techniques? Okay.
yes, we recommend that. And actually, some of the instructors, myself included, offer follow-up sessions. So, and we teach a lot through Zoom, which is very helpful for individuals who are not willing to leave their home or their basement. And so they can just Zoom in. They don't have to on the video platform that we use, or through, yeah, it has to be a video conference so that we can make sure that they're learning correctly. But one doesn't have to come to a physical location. So I've taught people in Kansas, from my home in Chicago, and actually in Florida and California and all over the United States. So and they still get the same results.
That's amazing. I'm a huge proponent of telehealth and telemental health as well. And it's I'm fond to say we live in the age of teleportation and time travel. We can be anywhere. We can record something and watch it later.
Right.
The two things, I just some minor anecdotes on my own end with the hyper vigilance. Is I am so aware now when I'm working with clients in person to try my darndest to keep the door in, so they're in front, like they can face the door. I think of
Right.
that all the time. It's just like this now ingrained in me. Don't come up behind a client, even if they're better or not. Don't
Mm-hmm.
close, and I think that's typically how we have our offices set up. Is you got your desk
Mm-hmm.
face, like we face the door, and then our clients sit. That's, you kind of want to shift it a little bit so that at least it's like a side peripheral view. And then like I do that at restaurants as well now. Like I'm starting to get this vicarious sort of hypervigilance myself of like, oh, I need to make sure I can see the door so no one sneaks up on me. It's been sort of fascinating how that has become ingrained in my own sort of life. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'll need to start taking some of these techniques, I guess, which I
Yeah.
know everyone who's watching is like, what are the techniques? We want to know what you keep saying this word techniques. What is it? What does a meditative technique look like? How does it work?
Sure. Well, there's a great secret in the breath. And the breath actually is connected to our mind and body. And we've heard people say, well, take 10 deep breaths and then you won't be angry or you'll be less angry, right? But there's more to the breath than that, than just reducing anger. Um, it's actually, you can replicate any emotion by um, that you would like by giving by breathing in a certain way. For every emotion that we experience, there's a specific and corresponding rhythm of breath. So, like when you're angry, you breathe fast, right? And maybe a little harder. And when you're sad, how do you breathe?
I probably don't. Sure. I think I probably hold my breath, or
Some people hold their breath,
shallow, I guess.
it's shallow, and then it's like an exhale.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Trying to
Yeah.
push it out.
Oh, like that. And when you're happy, like it's your birthday and someone
Yeah.
gives you a gift, then you breathe in, right? It's like the
I'm
emphasis,
getting winded, getting
you're,
lightheaded.
yeah, the emphasis is lighter and it's on the inhale. So we can use that knowledge to manage our mind and emotion. No one ever taught us how to manage our mind and emotions. So we have to learn it. And that's what we teach in Project Welcome Home Troops. And we teach very simple but practical techniques using the breath so that you can manage your mind and emotions. And say you go to the grocery store, or you're driving and someone cut you off and you get so angry you want to run after them and pursue them something. And you can use the breath just to calm yourself down. So, and then center yourself so that you can complete whatever you were trying to do.
Well, it sounds like you
Project.
need to have a lot of like cognitive control though in that. And like if I'm angry, I'm probably not going to be thinking to myself, oh, I need to breathe differently. Like don't be angry. So how do you overcome that with especially, I mean, I think you mentioned earlier anger management as
Yeah.
a piece of this. What is that like?
Well, we teach specific breathing techniques that help to manage anger, help to manage stress, help to manage post traumatic stress. And so those techniques one can use in the moment. And what we find is once people learn all the techniques, their awareness has increased pretty dramatically. So they're more aware, well, I'm getting angry right now. Or, oh, I'm angry and but I'm here in the grocery store and I don't want to, explode here. What can I do? And then they can use a variety of different techniques that no one knows they're doing, and then they can calm down, be centered, and finish what they came there to do. So very, very effective, very simple, practical,
That
and
sounds incredibly helpful. And
mhm,
I'm thinking through with some of the clients we work with who are justice involved. I mean, like anger is like, I mean, anger is just a very common emotion, but it does seem like when things escalate, they continue to escalate maybe disproportionately than one would expect. and then the police get called, or then the parole, like they do something and they violate the parole because they're angry and not thinking. I mean, this sounds incredibly, if you can convince someone to take it serious, that there's science behind this, that breathing and actually will help you from getting in trouble, it sounds like it'd be incredibly useful.
Oh, it's so practical, and an interesting study was done a few years ago at Berkeley with adolescents, and what they found is that impulsivity was reduced pretty dramatically. So that would apply to adults too, I'm sure, but the study was done for adolescents.
Without a doubt, impulsivity. All right, I'll get to the next question here, which is I want you to kind of walk us through the website and tell us more about the trainings and workshops that are available for clients and professionals. But I have to just kind of ask you, here's a parenting technique that I've learned through the schools with my kids, which is when the children are getting upset, they encourage them to smell the flowers, take a big deep breath, smell the flowers, and then blow out the bubbles. So it'll be like, smell the flower, now blow the bubbles. What do you think? Is that effective, useful, or is it just nonsense?
Yeah, that's effective. Yeah, that's a
All
good
right.
technique. We call it straw breath.
Straw breath, like
Mhm.
I don't know, I'm thinking strawberries, but what do you mean, like a drinking straw?
Breathing out. Yeah, you breathe out through a straw. Yeah, tiny imaginary straw. And what that does, see, like I was saying, every emotion has its own rhythm of breath. And so when you breathe in and you breathe out slowly, you're breaking that pattern. And so that's an effective way. That's one way to do it.
Okay.
But the thing with the straw breath is that it can lower your blood pressure. So
Hmm.
for adults, you don't want to do it for too long. You might do, we recommend only 5 breaths, and then
Okay.
check in and see how you're doing, because you don't want to faint or something like that.
No. Oh, no, you don't. I shouldn't laugh because that's serious stuff. But
Yeah, it's there's an ancient science of breath, and it's not just techniques people pulled out of the air, but it's
pun
very,
intended.
pardon me?
Pun intended. They pulled it out of
Yeah,
the air.
right.
All right. Please tell us about your trainings and your workshops. I see the Sky Resilience training. I think last time I talked to you about 6 or so months ago, you were getting ready for a big conference or retreat or something. So I'll bring up the website and you can tell me where people can go for more information and learn more about these trainings and why they're so important.
Okay, great. Yeah, the website is Project Welcome Home Troops, or pwht.org. And the most important thing there is, well, there's two things. One is the calendar of all our workshops. And the second one is actually three things. The research that we have, and there's a lot of research studies. And the third thing is the testimonials. So there's a lot of testimonials from veterans who've taken the course, and they say they can sleep better. That's one of the first things that people um, experience. And then this is some of the research that has been done. Um, and on depression, on
Mm.
the research study that was done at the University of Wisconsin is there also.
Look at it. Look at all this stuff.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's quite evidence based. So
That's so cool.
yeah.
What's this Yoga for Anxiety? Harvard University Health publication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not just yoga. It was the yogic breath, which we teach. We call it the sky breath,
Okay.
or the power breath, we call it. So SKY stands for Sudarshan Kriya Yoga, and it's yoga in the
Ah.
big sense of uh, balancing body, mind, and spirit
Newsweek.
and breath.
How cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Am I showing the right stuff though? So you said calendar of trainings, research, and testimonials. I found the research. Is
Mm-hmm.
the calendar the upcoming workshops? Is that
Yeah.
where people? Okay. And so
Mm-hmm.
what do I do here? You got they're online, 5 sessions starting December 6th. Who would go to this session?
Anyone could attend. Also, yeah, there's a form, a Google form that you can fill out. Anyone, a veteran or a social worker or who works with vets or immediate family members, adult family members can also attend. There's no charge to veterans, so they're very accessible. And some
Mm-hmm.
are online, some are in person.
Well, I'm glad you clarified the SKY resilience, that it's an
Mhm.
acronym, because I was really, honestly, this is my ignorance. I was like, where's the breathing courses? But that's what it means.
Yeah, we teach two courses through actually three through Project Welcome Home Troops, and one is the Sky Resilience Training, and the other one is a meditation. The Sky is a breathing technique, a series of breathing techniques that takes you to a meditative state and gives you tools for managing mind and emotions in activity and a daily practice you can use to, you know, regularly whittle away at the post traumatic stress. And the second technique is meditation. The second course is a meditation course, and it's a powerful and deep meditation course that is also effortless. So and veterans really love it because it helps with intrusive thoughts. So a lot of times with meditation, veterans are not interested because they don't want to sit and have all these thoughts barraging them. Um, but what this meditation technique does is that um, it's able to dissolve that thought and to let you sink very, very deeply into yourself, which is a source of all joy and peace and balance.
I'm feeling soothed just listening to you describe what happens. There's a picture of Leslie
Mm-hmm.
who's doing some of those workshops I saw. And
Yeah.
then what are these documentaries? They look pretty cool. What's going on?
Yes. The one on the left with the two backpackers is an award-winning documentary about them. It's called Almost Sunrise. And what happened was they both served in Iraq or Afghanistan, and they were very depressed and uh, really didn't want to have anything to do with their family or life. They were suicidal, and so they decided, and they were also very upset about the lack of care that was given by the Veterans Administration. So they went on this walk from Wisconsin to LA and to draw attention to veterans issues, especially the veteran suicide. And and when they got actually on their way to LA, they came upon our program in Colorado, and they took the program and they were amazed at how it helped them reduce their symptoms of post-traumatic stress. So it's the documentary shows, the before and after, and it shows the effect on their family and relationships, and it was very interesting. The same thing happened. Same benefits happened after the study in Wisconsin that I mentioned, that research study. And after one of the participants, Rich Lowe, took the course, his dad, he was riding in his truck with his dad, And his dad turned to him and said, "This is the Rich Lowe I used to know." And
Wow.
he would complain, that his friends were saying, "Why are you smiling all the time? Is there something wrong?"
Yeah, what's wrong with you? I don't trust happy. Are you kidding me? See, well, I thank you. I'll have to check. My wife and I love documentaries, especially outdoorsy ones where people walk long distances. It's like our niche. That and bricks. We like watching documentaries about bricks because St. Louis used to be a hotbed of brick manufacturing. So we have the strangest tastes in films. But what's the one thing that you want our audience to walk away with today?
Well, that the techniques are easy to learn, and you can learn to manage your mind and emotions, even if it doesn't seem like it's possible. And the breath can help. And all our instructors have been teaching for a long time, at least 10 years, most of us more. And the course is taught either online or in person, and it's at no charge to veterans. And it is about 4 hours per session over 5 or 6 days. And that means 3 or 4 hours each day, each of those days. It could be during the evening, during the day, over a weekend. And if you're very interested, please contact projectwelcomehometubes.org and we'll get back to you. And we can even design a course, if you have some veteran buddies, at least if there's 5, 10 people, we can organize it specifically for you if none of the time zones work for you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. Every time we chat, I know sometimes you're like, Zach, why do you ask those same questions? Well, one, I might have forgotten, but also it's helpful for our audience to know. And nevertheless, I still always learn something new. And so I know this is not goodbye. It's until next time. So thank you again for joining us. And I cannot echo the sentiment enough. Definitely go to the website, check out the trainings. This has been Ask an Expert. I'm Zach Hunsinger, and we'll see you next time as we continue our exploration of transformative topics. Stay informed and stay engaged.
Thank you so much, Zach.